Hey Eurovision fans, it's time for another Eurovision news update. We have 5 new countries who've committed to participating in Eurovision 2025. We also have updates on 5 of the national finals, including a new national final that's coming up this year. Loads of stuff to talk about. Let's kiki. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. I'll leave timestamps in the progress bar if you want to skip to any of the stories. Don't forget, I just released my top 10 choreography video. Any of the videos that I talk about today, they'll all be linked up in this eye in the top corner. Okay, so let's talk about our first confirmed country, and that is Ireland. A lot of people writing to me worried, are Ireland going to be in Eurovision or not? Yes, I knew that we're going to be. We always have a slightly delayed confirmation because Michael Keeley, our head of delegation, is always super busy straight after Eurovision working on other projects, and that's one of the reasons I think that we confirm a little bit later. Obviously Ireland's best results since 2000 were hardly going to disappear all of a sudden. But there's some interesting extra news in that Ireland is going to have a new co-head of delegation, Claire Hughes. Now there could be a couple of different reasons for this. One potential reason is that they want to give more help to that delegation. So in my What's Wrong with Ireland video, I spoke about how Michael Keeley works mostly on his own and only for part of the year. So when Eurovision season is over, he works on the Rosa Tralee and various other projects, whereas other delegations, for example like Norway, have a head of delegation who works on Eurovision all through the year and has a support team as well. So different delegations have different amounts of people working in them. So could Claire Hughes coming in the co-head, could that be that they're expanding the team? The second potential possibility, which I think is probably the more likely one, is that Michael Keeley has spoken about how this could be his last season as head of delegation. I think he's been head of delegation since around 2014 or so. He hasn't confirmed he's leaving, it's just a possibility, and bringing Claire in as the co-head might just be him teaching her the ropes so that she can take over next year if he decides to leave. A lot of people are very hard on Michael Keeley. I think he tends to be the scapegoat that people put all their frustrations on when Ireland were going through their terrible period. I have to admit, I think more of the blame should go on to Irish artists. If we've got all this talent, I think the Irish artists and songwriters need to step up and show it off. Really, Michael Keeley's just a facilitator. He gets the entries in, he supports them. We saw this year with Bambi Thug that if there's someone super talented with lots of creativity and passion and ideas, you can get 6th place in Eurovision just like that. I think some other delegations have a lot of constraints in what they can and can't do. I think you saw from how risky and daring Bambi's performance was this year that not very many constraints were put on them, and that's what allowed them to shine so much. Another aspect of the Irish confirmation is that the national final is going to stay on the Late Late Show. Again, this is something that I knew was going to happen. RTE, the Irish broadcaster, have been having a lot of financial issues lately, so the last thing they want is extra expenses. Michael Keeley spoke on the Eurovision podcast about how having a standalone national final would just cost a lot to rent out the arena, all the equipment, the satellite feeds, etc. And that's money that could otherwise be spent on staging and other things. So we kind of knew that it was going to be staying on the Late Late Show. I have to admit, I thought last year was really good. Patrick Kielty was an amazing host, way better than Brian Tuberty, who I always thought was terrible. And they had much better guests, and just everyone seemed way more clued into what was happening with Ireland in Eurovision. Like the judges were giving really good advice, apart from Sonia, who was trying to completely sabotage us for some reason. And we made a really good decision and we came 6th. So I'm not as against the Late Late Show as I was before. My biggest reservation is that they won't have more than 6 songs. They want to have judges, they want to have the back and forth. At the end of the day, it's their show, so they put these constraints onto the Irish delegation and say, this is what we want, take it or leave it. It's looking like there'll probably be 6 songs again. I just want a semi-final. Last year there were so many great songs submitted to the Irish shortlist. I'd say there were at least 20 songs that could have been in a national final with a huge amount of variety. Traditional music, Irish music, rap, weird stuff, and only getting to see 6 of those is such a shame. So I'm hoping and praying that somehow there could be some sort of a semi-final pre-round. It gives Irish artists more exposure. We get to see all these cool songs. It also gets to weed out those who are not that good at performing live, because right now we only get 6 into the final on the Late Late Show. If 3 of them are terrible performers, well then you've only got 3 options to choose from instead of 6. So having a preliminary semi-final, you're giving some people exposure and experience that they can build off of and come back in future years even stronger. Anyway, let's wait and see. We don't know for sure that it's going to be 6 songs on the Late Late Show, but that's been the pattern for a long time. So I'm expecting that Fingers crossed so that Ireland can expand a little bit, build off of this fantastic momentum and bring that forward into Eurovision 2025 and get another qualification and another good result. Okay, let's go to our next country confirmation, and this is another country that did so well in Eurovision 2024 that we all knew they were going to come back. They actually got their best result ever, their first time being in the top 3, and that is Croatia. Yes, Croatia are confirmed for Eurovision 2025. We knew this was going to happen. We already had the head of the delegation speaking about door for next year, but at the end of the day, that's not a confirmation. We need the broadcasters to say, yes, we are coming. We've applied and we're paying the fee. So great to see Croatia confirmed. We know the door is going to be coming back next year. It's going to have 24 songs again with 4 songs in reserved. No news yet about the fiasco which happened last year. Baby Lasagna was the first reserve. He didn't make the final 24. Or are they going to change the jury panel which chose the song? Like, how can a jury panel not pick the song that ended up coming second in Eurovision? I'm still angry about it. It's been so long and I'm still angry. We don't know, has the jury panel been changed? Did they get a kick up the ass? It kind of smells of corruption that other songs went through who had connections to the broadcaster. Imagine if Shasha hadn't pulled out. Baby Lasagna wouldn't have been in Dora and Croatia wouldn't have qualified. So really scandalous. No update on that, but hopefully some things are changing behind the scenes, because you cannot afford to be throwing away your best song and putting 24 weaker songs ahead of it. It's just not on. You're not going to be successful in Eurovision if you have a rotten jury panel. But hopefully Croatia can build off this momentum. Huge amount of national interest this year. So many Croatians getting really super excited and passionate about Eurovision. A little bit of disappointment afterwards. That's pretty normal when you come so close. But what it really showed to me is this huge appetite that Croatia has to win. Croatians were so excited about potentially winning, and we had all these potential host cities coming forward. They were heavy favorites before the final. I think they were up to 54% in the bookies to win. They got to look at what they did right, build off of that, and come up with a long-term strategy so that they're regularly in the top 10, and that's how you get yourself a win. Really rooting for them. So happy that they're back. Okay, let's go to our third country confirmation. Another country we were sure were coming back, but it's good to have the official confirmation, and that is Estonia. We're going to be seeing them in Basel, and they're going to be using their national final Istilau again. Unfortunately, we aren't getting the semi-finals back. We're going to stay with just a final. There's going to be 16 songs in the grand final. 15 of them are going to be chosen by a jury panel, which last year was a mix of journalists, music professionals, Eurovision fans as well. I know Gerd, Epic's Eurovision guy, was on the panel as well. So there's gonna be 25 people on that professional jury. And then the 16th song is gonna be chosen by the public. So I don't know if it's gonna be like an online vote or something. Maybe it'll just be a website with all the songs and you can listen to them. Honestly, I would prefer if we went back to the 2 semi-final system. But yeah, at least we have the 16th public wildcard. The artists are gonna be revealed no later than November 11th. So mark your calendar for that. And the songs are gonna be released no later than December 6th. So if you're wondering when Eurovision season really starts with the music, the latest possible is December 6th. We might even get some other songs before that. So very exciting. That's only around 2 months away from today. Okay, let's go to our fourth new confirmation, and that is Slovenia. Another slightly late confirmation from them. I believe there were some issues last year in terms of how Raven was selected. I don't know if it was completely above board. There were some rumors, allegedly, that maybe it wasn't done in the correct way, which culminated in the editor-in-chief of the entertainment at the national broadcaster resigning in January, following allegations of suspected irregularities in the implementation of its preparations for Eurovision. I have to admit, I quite liked when Slovenia were internally selecting. I think those last 2 years have been super high quality, although both of them kind of came in the 20s, but they both qualified and they were both big fan favorites, really making an impact. You know, you can't just go by results. I think that a lot of people really loved Slovenia and feel like Slovenia are building up a little bit more of an identity. I'm really associating them now with having something very professional looking, really high quality artist. And they've done that in the last 2 years. So I like the internal selection method for them, but maybe because there was this slightly dodgy goings on behind the scenes, they might go back to EMA, which was their national final before. I'm not against EMA, but LPS, when they won it, I just felt like interest in EMA was very low. Last Pizza Slice got a really small amount of votes in terms of winning the televote. I feel like internal selection is the right method for Slovenia. So they're going to be announcing the official selection method in October. So sometime this month, they'll say whether it's going to be internal selection or EMA. Okay, our fifth and final new confirmation for Eurovision 2025 is Iceland. So this was something that was bubbling in the background in my last news update, but Iceland have officially confirmed, bringing us to a total of 33 countries, although every time I'm editing these videos we get a new confirmation. They're going to be using Smthngnw again, which is their national file. It's going to have 10 songs, although they have said that there's going to be some changes in the format. What that could mean, is there going to be a different qualification system for the final? Are they going to get rid of the golden final? So in case you don't know, some of the Scandinavian countries like doing this golden final. Norway do it sometimes, not always. Sweden don't do it, Iceland do it, Denmark do it as well. You have like a grand final with only 2 or 3 options. I don't hate golden finals, but the problem with the golden final is that it allows you to vote against someone. Song A, Song B. If you like either, you can vote for, but if I don't like Song A, I can vote against it by voting for Song B, because there's only one other option. It creates this artificial environment which doesn't exist in Eurovision. In Eurovision, you can't vote against someone if you don't like them. Theoretically, you could. If there's 26 songs in the final and I don't like one of them, I could theoretically vote for all 25 other songs once, but that's incredibly inefficient. As opposed to in a golden final, we have 2 songs, you can vote against someone. I don't think it's in the spirit of the contest. It has no correlation with how Eurovision actually works. I think it punishes songs that might be a little bit divisive. For example, Hadrig Mun Sigra, which was an awesome song. It was in the golden final, but because some people didn't like Hadrig Mun Sigra, they could vote for Fredrik Omar instead. Even though they didn't like his song, they just wanted to vote against Hadrig Mun Sigra. I wonder when they talk about changes in the format, are they talking about this golden final? Estonia also do a golden final as well, so it's not so much Scandinavian as a Nordic thing. Generally, I'm against golden finals. The selection systems should more match what actually happens in Eurovision, and I don't like this negativity and how people can strategically vote. In any case, I'm really happy that Iceland are coming back. They still haven't got that elusive win. They've come second twice. I think they possibly could have won in 2020 before the contest was cancelled. Was that their big opportunity? I would love to see them get Dothi back. I think he's got the real talent to win Eurovision. I really feel like Iceland won this incredible streak. 2019 Hadrig Mun Sigra, 2020 and 2021 with Dothi. They really did look like they were gonna get that first one really soon, and they've kind of gone off the boil since. I want Iceland to pick their momentum back up. I want Iceland to win Eurovision, and that was actually the story of the Eurovision movie, was Iceland trying to get that first win. So I want Iceland to be making progress and moving forward. Maybe getting rid of the golden final is one of the steps in improving. Okay, so that's it for the new confirmations. We also have some news from North Macedonia saying that they're planning to broadcast both adult and junior Eurovision in the next year. Now that's obviously not a confirmation. You don't have to participate in Eurovision to broadcast it. I gotta be honest, at this point, I'm not expecting North Macedonia. I feel like since we've passed the registration date and we still haven't heard from them, the impression it gives to me is that they're not going to be there. They're not usually one of those countries who leave it last minute in the same way that like Armenia and Romania would. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not expecting North Macedonia at Eurovision 2025, but it's not a definite no yet. So with all that information in mind, let's get an updated look at all of the countries confirmed for Eurovision 2025, and we can see we're currently sitting at 33 countries with those 5 new confirmations, and still sitting at 13 countries who have not yet confirmed. I've organized them into rows based on how likely I think they are to actually show up in Basel. Top row, I'm expecting Armenia, Moldova and Poland. I don't see why they would pull out. Second row, Australia and Netherlands, a little bit more iffy. I'm being an optimist and hoping that the EBU have sorted things out with the Netherlands behind the scenes, and they will be coming to Eurovision 2025. There's been news this week that Eurovision in Concert, which is one of the biggest pre-parties which happens in the Netherlands, is going on, and that's going to be hosted by Cornel Maas and Smthngnw. Again, you're hosting a pre-party doesn't mean that you have to be participating. I would imagine that they needed to organize those dates anyway, regardless of whether the Netherlands are participating or not. So Dutch participation is still on the fence. In the third row, I've put Romania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria and Monaco. Again, any 4 of those appearing would be a pleasant surprise. I'm not expecting it. And then in the bottom row, it ain't happening. Hungary, Morocco, Liechtenstein and Turkey. I suppose Liechtenstein is less unlikely than the other 3. You know, of those 13, I'm expecting at least 3, possibly 4. 5 would be amazing, 6 would be crazy. But yeah, it's looking like we're currently going to be sitting around 36 to 38 countries in totality at Eurovision 2025. Put your guesses in down below what you think the total number for this year is going to be. Okay, so let's go to all of our juicy national final news. A lot of stuff happening. First of all, for Montenegro, their new national final, Montesong, they only had 32 submissions, which is really low. So 16 of those 32 songs are going to go through to Montesong. Yet, look, it's not a great indicator. Having more entries doesn't necessarily mean that the song quality is good, but obviously it gives you more options. Now, I'm hoping that Darko Dimitrov has submitted one or more songs. At the end of the day, we just need a couple of quality songs. That'll be enough. But yeah, look, I'm going into this national final not expecting like super high quality. 32 songs submitted. That's one of the lowest amounts I've ever seen. I remember last year, I think Albania only had around 80, and I thought that was low. This is even lower, but you never know. Can Montenegro prove that quality is more important than quantity? So those 16 finalists are going to be announced on October 10th, which is only a couple of days away, and the songs are going to be released on 17th of November. Very exciting. That's only around 5 or 6 weeks away before we get our first music of Eurovision 2025. Hopefully it's good music. Not really bad. Okay, more national final news from Southeast Europe, and the 30 artists competing in Festival Kunges, Albania's national final, have been released. And we've got some pretty interesting names here. The biggest name by far, I believe, is Elvana Gata, who came second in 2020. She was a huge favorite to win that year with her song Metana, which was a really cool ethnic bop. And I believe that she's pretty big in Albania. She's got 1.8 million followers on Instagram. She's had at least 10 #1 singles in Albania as well. So yeah, I think she's probably going into this Festival Kunges being the favorite. Now we have to wait and see what the song is. But yeah, I would imagine if Festival Kunges keeps the same format where the Eurovision song is voted for by the public and the winner is voted by the jury, that I think that she's going to be pretty popular. She's a good shot at winning the public vote. Another person coming back is Mal from last year, who you may remember won the jury vote but didn't get to go to Eurovision because of that rule that I just mentioned. I thought his song last year was really interesting, and he had a very interesting performance, dressed in this kind of like Spartan gladiator dress, very distinctive raw vocal. I actually thought that song was quite interesting. I honestly would have preferred if Mal had gone to Eurovision rather than Bessa. You know, I thought Bessa was good and her song was great, but I think that Mal would have been a little bit more of an exciting risk, whereas Bessa, it was a little bit more predictable what was going to happen. She didn't do particularly well. I think she came 15th or something, didn't she? Yeah, she came 15th, and honestly I thought that the final show didn't look great. It was a little bit messy. I didn't understand the story of it. Thematically, it just didn't work for me. So also would have been a little bit more interesting for Albania to send a guy. They do send a lot of women in recent times, so interesting that Mal is coming back, especially since he won Festival Kunges last year. Although we have seen this before, Elsa Lila did the same, where she won Festival Kunges jury vote, which is winning Festival Kunges, in 2022, and then came back in 2023. Mal doing that this year as well. I wonder, actually, do they automatically invite back the winner or something? So those were the two main names that jumped out at me, but let's look at some of the others. I went through everybody's follower count on Instagram. I know that's not a perfect metric for looking at who's established, but I wanted to get an idea who's got a big following already, particularly with this televote, as that's the person going to Eurovision. So Elvana Gata, as I said, has 1.8 million followers. Osi Beluku has 600,000. I believe he's also a television presenter as well. Ardit Suni, 265. I checked out some of his music. It's got a really cool ethnic feel. I'm looking out for his song as well. That could be interesting. Steen or Steine, I don't know how to pronounce it, 150,000. Loreng has Rama, 140,000. Nita Latifi, 130. And Vesa Smolika is from Kosovo, and she's got 102,000. So 7 artists in total who have more than 100,000 followers on Instagram. So those are some of the people I'm going to be looking out for as well. We also have 3 of the newcomers from last year: Santino De Bartolo, Clenza Suyaj, and Martina Sarici. Those 3 newcomers are coming back and are presumably not newcomers this time. They'll go into the adult section, I'm not sure. We have 30 artists. It's a lot. I'm hoping that they're going to do some sort of a mini cull down to 20. I think they usually have, or 20. Last year I think it was 22 in the final, or 23. I still think it's quite a lot. The show is quite long. It's a very long show. A lot of toilet breaks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it though. Okay, let's go to even more national final news, and UMK is back in Finland, and that's going to be happening on February 8th. The tickets went on sale on October 3rd and they sold out really super quickly. Don't worry though, because you can buy resale tickets. Last year I got a UMK ticket and then I wasn't able to go, so I resold it on the official website and I was able to sell it relatively quickly. I remember that when I was selling it, there were around 100 or so tickets online. This was after the songs were released. So if you wait until a little bit later, you should be able to pick up a ticket if you still want to get one. Of course, I'm super excited for UMK. It's one of the main national finals for me that I'm super excited for. I believe we're sticking with the 7-song format. It's been working really well for them. It's kind of iconic. That's become their magic national final number that nobody else has. And I presume that they're going to be keeping the 75%, 25% split, 75% televote, 25% jury. That's what they've had in recent years. I haven't heard any news that that's going to change. They've qualified the last 4 years in a row, so I don't know why they changed that. And 2 of those were top 10 finishes as well. Blind Channel came 6th, and then Garia obviously came 2nd. So it's a format that's really working. I'd imagine it's going to stay. Okay, next up, Montesong is not the only new national final that we're getting next season. Greece have announced that they are going back to the national final for, I think, the first time since 2012. Aphrodisiac was the one that happened in the shopping mall in 2012. So definitely hope that we're going to have it in a proper studio this time and not in a shopping mall. But yes, if you've been following Greece in recent years, they have been having these kind of like slightly messy internal selections. A couple of years ago, one of the artists in the final of the internal selection ended up suing the broadcaster allegedly because it looked like things were a little bit suspicious and ended up not qualifying that year. I think that going back to a national final is worth the risk and experiment. We don't have any details about the show yet, where it's happening, will it have semi-finals, how many people are in the final. I do associate Greece with generally having like smaller finals. We know that some of the former Yugoslav countries tend to have like very big national finals. Serbia's national final is huge, so is Croatia's. Montenegro's having a pretty big one, especially considering how many songs were submitted. But for Greece, I'm thinking maybe it might be like 6 to 8, possibly. I don't know. Total speculation. We don't have any details on it yet. They may get in all the songs first and see what kind of quality they've got and then make a decision based off of that. But very interesting that we've got a new national final. Will they be good at building up an identity in the same way that UMK has built an identity? You know, Benidorm Fest has built a really great identity in the last few years as well. Will Greece be able to do the same? And will it be a stayer, or is it going to be a once-off thing and they'll go back to internal selections? Okay, next up, we also have some rumours emerging from Belgium. So according to Het Laatste Nieuws, which I assume is a Belgian newspaper, there's going to be a total of 8 artists in their national final. And apparently 4 of them have already leaked. Jelle van Daal, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Lies, Noemi Wolfs and Red Sebastian. So this isn't confirmed, just rumours, but interesting to get a first taste of who could be in Eurosong 2025. We're also getting reports that there's going to be 2 semi-finals and a final. A little bit strange considering they're saying that 8 people are going to be in this, maybe 4 in each semi-final and 3 each going to the final for a final of 6 or 5, I'm not sure. Seems a little bit unusual, but yes, that's what's reported so far. But it's good that we're going to be able to see these artists perform live, particularly considering the problems that Musty had last year with his performance. Okay, we've got some quick news about Luxembourg's national final. That's happening on January 25th. No new big statements about the format of that. I'm hoping that they'll have learnt their lesson from last year. There were some bad decisions in terms of song selection and production. There was a really nice ethnic song that they left out, which I think very obviously should have been in the final. So hopefully they're rejigging it, trying to focus a little bit more on building up a... Okay, we've got a little bit of news about Melodifestivalen, and that is Måns Zelmerlöw, the winner of Eurovision 2015, may be returning to Melodifestivalen this year. I don't think this is confirmed. I believe it's just a rumor that he wants to come back. I don't know if he has a song yet or if he's just on the hunt. I wonder if he looked at Loreen winning and said, oh, I'd like to get a double win as well. I gotta admit, I don't know if he's in the same category as her. He had a really great show in 2015, but even now looking back at that staging, it feels a little bit outdated. So he would have to come up with like a big new trick, I think, to win. And I don't know if a song like Heroes, when it won in 2015, I don't think a song like that could win now. He'd need to evolve in some way. But still, I think it would be very interesting to see what he came back with. Apparently he's been in contact with Frederik Rudman, who you probably know worked with Kaya with Cha Cha Cha, and also did the staging for the Code for Switzerland this year. And I didn't realize this, but he also did Måns' staging in 2015. So Frederik Rudman really is, I think, the #1 staging director in Eurovision right now with a credible record. And he might not be the only former Melfest winner who wants to come back for a juicy second title. John Ludwig as well, apparently maybe throwing his hat into the ring. He's also apparently expressed some interest. Again, I don't know if he's got a song or if he's just interested. This is from one of the Swedish tabloids. And also Clara Hammarström is apparently interested as well. She's definitely someone I think has got the talent to represent Sweden one day. Will it be this year? Who knows? So that's all of the national final news. Some other news we have is about Azerbaijan. They're changing their head of delegation. So I gotta admit, this isn't too much of a surprise for me. The last 2 years their results haven't been great. Very last minute in terms of details about what their entry is going to be, and then their performances, the staging, the whole packages have just been a little bit lackluster, having a little bit more of an indie vibe, but just seeming a little bit lost. Maybe some fresh leadership can help reinvigorate them. They are keeping Eldar Gazimov, who you may know as one half of 2011 winning Duet. They're keeping him as the official music producer. I don't know what that means. I don't know if he just does like the final production on the song or if he's an advisor to the artist or what, but he's going to stay involved in the delegation, but they're going to get a new head in. I believe it's a female head of delegation from Iktamay or Uktamay, which is the national broadcaster. So yeah, I think Azerbaijan do need to shake things up a little bit. They're struggling to even qualify right now, let alone make an impact in the final. So maybe this is what they need to do. Okay, if you're on my Patreon, go check this video out on Patreon to see the bonus news. Otherwise, that's all that I've got for today. Thank you so much to Lackey for supporting me on Buy Me Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I have links for you in the description down below. And of course, thank you to all my wonderful patrons for supporting me from all around the world. If you want early previews and things like bonus news updates, go check out my Patreon. I'll leave a link for you in the description down below. But of course, thank you so much for watching, and maybe leaving a like and maybe sharing the video. And I'll see you in another Eurovision news update very soon. Goodbye. Oops. Blah, 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 blah.